All right, here's how to beat procrastination in 6 simple steps. And in the process, you're going to be able to get more done in the next 2 hours than most people do over the course of an entire week. And I know a thing or two about procrastination because I am Mr. ADHD, and my biological imperative is to procrastinate for as long as possible. So I am a dopamine seeking missile, and if it is not something that lights up my brain with intrigue and desire and delight, I'm not going to go after the thing. And this was a real problem for me throughout the majority of my life because I could not actually get out of my own way to focus these energies, this potential that I had, in the direction of my goals, right? And it didn't happen in my life that I started moving productively in pursuit of my dreams until I could overcome my biological imperative to sit and do nothing and just procrastinate. And so here is a 6-step, very simple process that I promise you, if you implement this, it will work to help you overcome procrastination on demand. So step 1 is that we need to become aware that we are procrastinating. Easier said than done, because the truth is that there are 2 versions of you. There is the biological you and there is the modern you. The biological you has evolved over millennia for one purpose, which is to pass on your genes. It's actually don't die long enough so that you could pass on your genes. That's it. That's like your biological you's only imperative. Everything outside of that is just don't expend any energy, don't take risks, don't do anything that's going to increase the probability that you die, right? So that's you over here, the biological you. But the modern you, like, we don't have the same issues that our ancestors did. There's very few existential threats lurking around the next corner that are going to jump out and kill you, right? And so as a consequence, we have more time and energy freed up to focus on the things in life that move us up the hierarchy of needs towards things that sustain us with meaning and purpose and value in life. Like, it's now not just about surviving, it's about thriving, right? So there's a battle that's being waged here between your biological you, which is lazy, and the modern you, which has all these big dreams and aspirations for your life. And the thing is that all the things that are going to move you towards your dreams and your goals, the things that you're procrastinating, they're because the biological you doesn't want to do them. So we have to find a way to overcome the biological you. And the thing is, that biological you is a damn strong enemy because it's evolved over millennia. It's so deeply ingrained in who you are at a biological level. And one of the sneakiest ways that the biological you lulls you into complacency and lulls you into procrastination is it does it completely under the radar without your awareness. Quite often we're procrastinating, we're not doing the things that we need to be doing, and we're completely unaware. This is what happens when you start doom scrolling on social media and then you look up 20 minutes later and you're like, where did the time go? That was the biological you. It won. It was very sneaky. So like step 1 is we have to become aware that we are procrastinating. And the way that I do this is by programming alarms into my phone, little pattern interrupts, where when it goes off, it's very random throughout the day. There's different apps that you can download these days for this. It's just accompanied with a question. My question is, what's my outcome? And that little pattern interrupt, it catches me in the moment. And if I'm doom scrolling, it goes, what's my outcome? And I'm go, holy crap, I'm doom scrolling. What is my outcome? I came to social media to make a post so that I can make an impact on people's lives. And now next thing I know, I'm watching cat videos, right? How did this happen? But now once you're aware of it, we can move to the next step, which is to reclaim your intention. So once you're aware that you've been procrastinating, now we have to ask ourselves, what is the thing that I'm procrastinating? Like, why am I not doing what I was supposed to be doing? And the way that you get in alignment with what it was that you wanted to do, this task that would move you towards your highest and best self, towards thriving, is to connect it with a deep, meaningful why. A deep, meaningful why. Now, there's 2 different types of whys. You could have a why for a greater, brighter, better future. Or you could have a why around just not wanting to have a miserable existence. All the terrible things, right? Both can be powerful. And I recommend that you have both whys. If you were to imagine that if you continue on the path that you're on right now, not doing the things that would move you towards your dreams, right? And you keep doing exactly what you're doing, sitting on the couch, playing video games, eating Cheetos, right? And drinking too much and partying too much. If you kept doing that stuff, what's the outcome of that in the next 10 years? Use that hell that you're creating, the vision for your life, that hellacious future, as motivation. Like, I don't want to become that person. And maybe that's somebody that you recognize in your own life. Maybe it's your uncle, maybe it's your dad, maybe it's somebody, like your neighbors, right? You probably know who is like the personification of that future that you want to avoid. Hold that in your mind as the why. I don't want that. I don't want to be like that. Because we're either doing one of two things, right? We're either moving forward in life to honor our past or to heal our past. And a lot of you have negative energy, a lot of things in your life that you can point to and say, I don't want to become that. So use that energy as the why. If I don't get back to what I'm doing and focus and apply myself, I'm going to become that. The flip side of this is that you also need to have something positive in your future to be striving towards. It's not just enough to run away from fear. We have to have something to run towards. And so the more clear you can paint the picture of what you're running towards and what you're running away from, the more power you have in that moment to reapply yourself with intention towards doing the hard task in the moment that needs to be done to move forward. Because quite often the activities you got to do that will move you forward and lead to a better life, they are hard by definition. And hard things that are worthwhile, they typically take a long time to get rewarded for. You don't get rewarded instantly for going to the gym, for eating healthy, or for making those extra phone calls to, the sales prospects. You don't get rewarded instantly for that, but it compounds over the next 10, 15 years. And you look up and you're 40 years old and you're in great shape and you have great relationships and you're financially free, right? So we don't get rewarded instantly for these things, but we do get rewarded instantly in the moment for doing the things that are in alignment with our biological use imperative. So when you eat the Cheetos and play the video games, you're rewarded instantly for that, but you're punished over the long term. Now, because it's very hard to see the reward of doing the activities that would move us forward over the long term, and it's very hard to see the punishments of not doing those things, we tend to do the things in the moment that feel good, right? So that's why it is so important that we interrupt the pattern, we become aware that we're procrastinating, then we tie it back to the intention. Why am I doing this thing? Why is it so important that I actually take action in this moment? Then what we're going to do is we're going to define the objective. Define the next objective, right? If you can't win the game, you can't win the game if you don't know the rules. So next, once we know that we are procrastinating, once we reapply and say, okay, I need to get back to work, I need to do this thing, then you need to define very clearly what is the objective of the task that you're going to perform. The more clear that you can define that, the better. This comes as the result of a question I like to ask, which is just, what's it look like to win? Like, what does winning look like? Define the rules, define the parameters, and then step 4 is set a tiny goal in relation to that objective. Okay, so I know that to win now, okay, I've been procrastinating. I just caught myself doom scrolling. What's my intention? Well, I wanted to make a post on social media so that I could, impact lives and, hopefully help somebody else out there who's in a position that maybe I was in at some point in my past, right? Cool. If I do that over a long enough time frame, then maybe I can be financially rewarded, or maybe I can be internally rewarded as the type of person who shows up and who is a light in the world and who is, giving more than he takes. Awesome. Great for karma, right? Now, my next objective is I'm going to, over the next 15 minutes, I need to make a post. I need to write, or I need to do a video. I need to do something. Like, my objective is to post something. Cool. What's the tiny goal in relation to that? The tiny goal is, okay, in the next minute, I'm going to pull out my phone and I'm going to turn on the camera and I'm going to start talking to it. Doesn't mean I have to say anything perfect. Doesn't mean I have to have anything scripted out. Doesn't even mean I have to post a thing. I just have to know what is the next tiny step I'm going to take in relation to the objective. And then step 5 is we're going to start a timer. We're going to start a timer and say, okay, in the next minute, I'm going to pull out my phone. I'm going to start a timer so that I'm going to work on this for the next 15 minutes. 15 minutes. That's it. I just got to sit with my phone in my hand for the next 15 minutes, but I have to pick it up within the next 1 minute. And then all I have to do is sit with it for 15 minutes staring at the camera. And if anything magical comes out, awesome. If not, that's okay too, right? It's about measuring the inputs, not necessarily the outputs. We know that if we show up and we do the work, the outputs will come as a result. And all we want to focus on right now isn't going to the end and saying, what's the end result of this? Just, I need to get momentum. I need to overcome the inertia, which has kept me rooted in the moment. And I need to get moving forward. So we pick up the phone, we set a timer for 15 minutes, and we just sit there with it. And what will typically happen is at the end of that 15 minutes, you'll probably keep going because you now have momentum, and that's a beautiful thing. But the last step in this equation is we set our objective, we set our tiny goal in relation to it, we've set our timer, we have our phone in our hand, right? Now, you just have to start. It's not, I know it's really simple. It's like duh, but like nothing happens until you take action. So all of this up to this moment, It's really good. Cool. You've realigned, you've become aware that you're procrastinating. You've realigned with your intentions. You've set an objective. You set a tiny goal. You have your timer ready to go. Push the goddamn button and get going. And so if you're watching this right now because you are procrastinating, go back to the beginning of this, write the list out, and get the fuck to work. I'll see you guys in the next episode.